What is the relationship between Dell and CoreWeave? I think about CoreWeave as a builder of data center or AI infrastructure, but Dell is a builder of servers. How do you work together?
So it's a deep technical partnership, first and foremost. And I'm going to be asked later today why that partnership started and how we choose partners.
Right.
It's really rooted in trust, right? Is I have to know that when we have a problem and when you're building supercomputers at the scale that we do, there are problems. That when that happens, I can call somebody and they help me solve it very quickly, right? So Dell has been amazing from a trust perspective, from an engineering performance and expertise perspective.
They move quickly.
They've moved very quickly, which has been great for us. It's really important to be first to market for CoreWeave.
Right.
Because our customers and the biggest AI labs in the world really trust us to help them be first to market with their products. So Dell has been instrumental for us in the GB200 rollout. They've been a tremendous partner, and we're excited to grow.
Let me just jump in there, because this is at the core of what we're talking about. You both rely on NVIDIA's core technology, the GPU or AI accelerator. NVIDIA historically does not have its own direct sales channel. They would go to a Dell, or somebody else would go to a Dell and be like, I want some NVIDIA gear. Where do you fit in? Is Dell the sales channel for CoreWeave, or CoreWeave's the sales channel for Dell?
It's a little bit of both.
Right.
Right, and the lines have been blurred there for sure. We're working with customers before we purchase infrastructure. We call it success-based financing at CoreWeave. We're only investing the capital when we have a contract in place. So we'll do a deal with the customer, we'll go through Dell, we'll work with Dell and NVIDIA to get our allocations to actually build the servers and deploy them in CoreWeave's data centers.
I'm going to ask you a question that I asked your CEO literally 7 days ago, and I'm hoping that we can make progress on an answer. CoreWeave has a lot of workloads up and running. What is the proportion of training workloads versus inference workloads?
So we have visibility into some of our customers' workloads and what they're doing just from our engineering partnerships. There's some customers that we don't necessarily know what they're serving on our infrastructure. The vast majority of workloads that we're serving today, I believe, are inference-based, right? We still have big training workloads, but as the training of these models has increased in an order of magnitude via the scaling laws over the past couple of years, I think the inference workloads are about a generation behind, right? So as training went from 1 to 10,
yes,
and then 10 to 100, inference went from 1 to 10, 10 to 100, just one step after that. And we're seeing that step change in demand now for inference, and it's definitely overwhelming the supply chain and what the clouds can actually deliver.
It's the supply chain why I ask. I think everyone is trying to have a crystal ball into capital expenditures and the build out of more infrastructure capacity. But inference is a slightly different calculus. What is the biggest geographic or sort of sectoral driver for you guys right now? Where is the demand coming from?
The demand, our customers are still pretty indifferent, right? It's very early stages on this kind of order of magnitude expansion. So they're trying to figure out, what do I need, not even where do I need it? And as they're moving into enterprises in different, let's call it, different sovereign areas, they're starting to be more cognizant of where they're deploying infrastructure. But the story of the last couple of years has been more and more quickly.
I've been grateful to speak to you over a number of years as CoreWeave has also moved pretty quickly. The criticism of the company, or not the criticism, the anxiety is that the business model is very simply buying GPUs and renting them out. And it becomes a kind of commoditized capital game. But you would argue CoreWeave's more than that. You're doing investment in software. What is the value add going forward?
So I think that's one of the biggest misconceptions about the entire industry, that this infrastructure is commoditized, right? And the reason why we win the biggest labs and enterprises in the space over and over and over again, and they, OpenAI just expanded their relationship with us again. The reason for that is because the platform is decommoditized. The software matters, the way that we run the infrastructure matters, day two operations matter, the engineering partnership matters, right? It's not just plugging in GPUs and delivering to a customer, right? And I think it's taking the market some time to figure that out. And we're thrilled to tell that story over the next few years.
There are competing forces. There are the headlines about data center leases being cancelled or pared back, which the hyperscalers push back on. Then there are all of the mega deals announced in the Gulf last week. Which trajectory do you see for data center build out?
So I said this to you in a fireside chat maybe a year and a half ago.
Right, almost 2 years ago.
Data center demand was absurd. And at the time I thought it was as crazy as it was going to get. And like I said, it's stepping up an order of magnitude. And it seems that for this technology to find true enterprise adoption, the investments have to happen. So I think that some of the data center lease cancellations that you're hearing about, or some of people pausing things, they're pausing certain aspects of their portfolio, not necessarily their long-term strategy, right? And
AI related.
Yeah, AI related. If you look at this from a path-dependent perspective, like it may cause you some worry, but if you look and say AI over the next 5 years, is it more or less? It becomes pretty easy to understand what's going to happen.
Really quick, we're up against time. Is there an opportunity for you in the Gulf in those deals that were announced?
I guess we'll see.